Do you need a music degree to be a professional musician? Short answer, no. Long answer, no. How the heck are you? My name is Adam. Welcome to the channel. Kidding aside, this is a question that I get a lot, and I think it's a good topic to discuss for those who are interested in considering music as a career path. For the most part, going to college to study music is not necessary if you are interested in becoming a professional musician. There are, of course, exceptions to this. If you want to pursue classical, orchestral, or opera work, the amount of training required to get to that level of proficiency is something that a music performance degree would provide you. For everyone else, I would say your need to pursue a formal education in music is optional. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of examples of insanely talented musicians who used the time at music school to shed and perfect their instruments. And that depth of knowledge is absolutely valuable. I've hired tons of music school grads for my projects. There are also incredible creators like Rick Beato, Rhett Shull, and Adam Neely who use their education and credentials as a way to build up the next generation of musicians. Personally, I chose not to pursue a music degree even though I wanted to play music as a profession. That does not mean I was completely self-taught though. I took guitar and voice lessons, performed in vocal groups, and started playing in bands as a teenager. Those experiences helped me develop a skill set and a shorthand that is necessary if you want to play music with other people. As a disclaimer, this information is coming from the perspective of a singing guitar player and the lane of music that I work in. What a jazz drummer needs versus a rock guitar player needs are very different, and there are lots of great creators out there providing content for those other perspectives. With that out of the way, here's what I consider the core competencies necessary to play music as your job. A working knowledge of music theory is an absolute must. Guitar players need a solid grasp of chord shapes and be able to read them on the fly. The same goes for scales. Being told a song is in the key of A major and knowing what notes to play is a ground level skill necessary for this kind of work. Beyond that, there are also specific systems you'll need to know in order to work in professional settings. The Nashville Numbers system is a commonly used method to provide chord information and song structure for studio musicians and hired guns. If someone tells you this is a 1-4-5 progression in the key of G at a rehearsal or recording session, you have about 4 counts before you need to be ready to play that song. Another important skill is ear training. Can you figure out what key a song is in just by listening to it? To go a step further, can you listen to a song and know what chords are being played without picking up your instrument? Being able to listen critically and pick out intervals is something that some musicians do without even thinking about it, and having that skill will make jumping into gigs like this that much easier. Theory aside, there is an entire language of shorthand that musicians use to communicate with each other. Do you know what these words mean? Diamond, shuffle, push, downbeat, turnaround, trash can? Oh, here's a real tricky term. The one. Can you decipher the following phrases? Land on the one, crash on the one, bring in the one. Each of those is referring to a different musical term. If you aren't sure what those phrases mean, you may not be ready for that kind of gig just yet. With that being said, talking about this stuff is not as valuable as getting into a room with other players and learning as you go. I've learned the most valuable skills as a musician by being in the rehearsal room or sharing the stage with more competent players. There's a book called Outliers by a guy named Malcolm Gladwell that I read back in college. His theory is that it takes 10,000 hours of work for a person to become an expert at something. Whether you're spending those 10,000 hours in a classroom, a rehearsal space, or watching YouTube videos is ultimately up to you. Just like everything in this industry, everyone's path is going to be different. I just wish I had the same resources that young players have now when I was a kid. This channel is a great example of content that didn't exist that I had to make myself in order to help others. In the end, it doesn't necessarily matter how you spend those 10,000 hours, just that you take the journey seriously. That's gonna do it for this week. Thanks again for tuning in. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I am dangerously close to hitting 1,000 subscribers and it would just absolutely make my day. Also, thanks to another viral TikTok video, there is a new design in my merch store. Go check those out as they may be on sale by the time you watch this video. Have an awesome week, and I'll see you next time.